If the words sales funnel makes you hide under your desk, this episode is for you. Whether you're stuck on what to sell, overwhelmed by tech, or just tired of spinning your wheels, today's guest speaker, Shannon Gaither, is here to simplify the entire process. She's breaking down how to go from idea to income with a sales funnel that's simple, sustainable, and actually works, even if you don't have a team or tech background. This is the clarity and confidence boost that every online business owner needs and that I wish I had early on. So let's dive in. Welcome to the E-commerce Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Saunders. When we started this business, all I had was a couch, a laptop, and a 9-month-old. My main goal? To help others. Now, with over 20 years in the e-commerce building industry and even more than that in web development, I have seen a lot. I love breaking down the hard tech into easily understandable bits to help others be successful in their online business. Whether you're a seasoned e-commerce veteran or just starting out, you've come to the right place. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of e-commerce together. Welcome back to the show. Today we have a special guest with us, and her name is Shannon Gaither, and she is a sales and marketing strategist who helps online business owners build simple sales funnels through her coaching and signature course, Sales Funnel Lab. She's all about turning ideas into income without the tech overwhelm. And she is a joy to talk to. She and I are both tech people, and I always have a great conversation with Shannon. So welcome, Shannon, to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
So Shannon, tell us a little bit more about you and who you are and what's your fun hobbies to do too, besides all the tech things you do.
Well, it's I have twins. I have 13-year-old twins, boy, girl. They keep me pretty busy. And gardening is my go-to hobby for sure. And I'm a vegetable gardener. Love vegetable gardening. I've been doing it for a lot of years. And I'd say that's my main hobby, other than just constantly organizing things in my home. And
So tell us a little bit more about your sales funnel business and your how you help other businesses too.
yes, I like to take the guesswork out of what to sell and how to sell it. And I do that through coaching and my course, as you mentioned, Sales Funnel Lab. And I've been doing it for, I don't know, I went from, let's see, about 5 years ago, I switched to coaching and built my first course about 4 years ago, Systems for Success. And and I love systems, and that just comes naturally to me. And it took a little while to warm up to realizing that all my business had turned into a funnel business. Like it had just, without really realizing it, that's what I had ended up that's what I've been doing. I met with a coach, and she was like, what is exactly is your transformation? What do you help people with? And we kept drilling into it, and I was like, over and over and over again, it was I build offers. I help people build offers, figure out how to launch them into the world and how to position them and how to optimize. And so it's just evolved into that business, and I absolutely love it because it often is the differentiator between somebody making enough money in their business to validate their business, to make sure that it is, continuing to be something that they should be putting their time and effort into. And I see a lot of people stop at a certain point and kind of cap off and find that they have tech challenges or just strategy challenges. They don't know where to focus their energy next, and it stops them from really getting the business that they deem successful. And without that, they're liable to give up on their business if they get burnout, or just they might just not make enough money for it to work, for it to make sense for them. And so I love seeing somebody go from that place to successful and making money and really bringing it in, and in a way that gives them the opportunity to build the lifestyle that they want for their own family and themselves.
And I witnessed you do this before too with some business people I know, some business friends I know, and it's just so wonderful to see how you work with them and the transformation you give them, and really how much you care, and to make sure that you're similar to me and our business, and that you're invested in their business and you want to make sure that they are seeing success and really making that next stride. And so I think that's kind of why we're a little bit of a kindred spirit here, because we both love to just see the success in our clients, and it really shows with
Absolutely.
what you do.
Thank you for saying that. I do feel like it is their success is my success. That's literally, it's so tied. There's no way it's not. It's just, that's literally what I live for. And I think that it's really fun and exciting to see somebody have that click happen and make that move that really is the differentiator in their business. It's cool.
Makes sense. So for those listening, and they're wanting to build like a sales funnel, what are some of the common misconceptions about sales funnel among early stage online entrepreneurs? What are they not knowing or missing or along those lines?
I'd say that one of the biggest misconceptions is they think they need a huge audience or they need to really complicated tech to have a funnel that works. And you really don't. I mean, I've had clients start with a free checklist or a simple thank you page or that has an offer on it or a 3-page email sequence that makes their first sale. And it really doesn't have to be super complicated. And I'd say another misconception would be thinking you have to build out like an entire course or challenge or boot camp or a membership before you start selling. And that is that's putting the cart before the horse. I think sometimes you need to pre-sell or launch a beta before you launch something big or put your time into something large because you need to get proof of concept first. So like I've had a client launch a 4-week workshop that was about with just like a basic sales page. Literally had a few bullets on it about what she was teaching, and it sold out. So it really doesn't have to be overly complicated, but I think a lot of folks think it should be. And then the last thing I'd say is a misconception that comes right to mind is that people think funnels are cold and pushy. But the best funnels are really should feel like a conversation. It should be like someone's opting into your freebie and then they read your story in an email that you send and in response to that or delivery. And then they're like, wow, she's been where I am. You know, it's
Mhm.
the good sales funnels are not spammy. They're supportive. So I'd say those are the big misconceptions.
Well, and I think that makes a lot of sense because I know that the sales funnels that I am attracted to are the ones that are like that. They're simpler, they're more friendly. I feel like I am having a conversation with the person. So I love how you help people see that because it's so easy for us as entrepreneurs to overcomplicate what we're doing. And I'm talking to
Yeah.
myself too, because I do this as well. And I sometimes have to be like, wait a minute, Carrie, we need to back up and make this a little simpler, try it out, proof of concept, things like that. So I love that you help the clients, see that, and you're not. I feel like that's showing that you're not taking advantage of them as a client. You're truly, walking side by side and helping them see,
Yes.
we can do this easy and get some sales and get some momentum and some really encouragement and more self-confidence when we do make those little sales along the way as we're building whatever the thing is, and it helps us have that confidence to keep going and know that we're in the right direction and finish what's in our brain as the bigger, more perfection part of it, but we're making those many steps along the way because done is better than perfect for sure.
Done is better than perfect. Absolutely. And you can spend a lot of time, just like you can build a website and you can spend a lot of time doing your branding and your website and building all that out and then not actually selling anything for a while. And then you're like, I should have been selling first. I should have sold first and then built those things out, and same thing happens with a lot of course creators and membership people. They go to launch and they haven't been building their audience or they haven't been warming people up. And, it's, it's always more rewarding when you have that validation first. When
For
and
sure.
you've got the validation, to put where to put your energy, it's way better.
For sure. For sure. So then if somebody is wanting to do something like this, how could a business owner identify and validate a profitable offer before like building out the funnel and before doing all the bigger things behind it?
I'd start with paying attention to what people are asking you for. So, like, if you're a mindset coach and people are asking you, if people keep saying like, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not consistent at it, then that could be a sign for you to make something like a 30-day accountability plan, and or like a daily reset routine or some mindset reset routine or something like that. Just you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just package your support around the need that they're expressing. So build something around what you hear them talking about they need, if you can. And then also validation doesn't have to be super fancy. It can be like you could post a poll on your Instagram saying something like, if I offered a quick training on this topic, would you be into it? And if you get replies or DMs, then there's your green light. You could also try a mini version of your idea. I love getting people to make like a small offer, like for example, if you want to create a big course, before you do that, you host a 90-minute workshop, like a paid workshop. One of my clients did that, she did a $37 workshop for accounting basics for tax pros, and she totally validated her offer and that people were willing to pay, and she turned it into a bigger product. So
I love that. And I feel like that's something we sometimes don't give permission to ourselves to even do.
Yes.
So I love that you give them that permission. And sometimes we need to hear it more than once too. Because the other day I was actually talking to somebody, and we're at the time of this recording, we're running some webinars. Well, she was like, well, are you going to like save it and record it and sell it later? Well, I hadn't even considered it. I hadn't considered what I was teaching in it as being like a little mini workshop of some sort. So sometimes we just need a partner like you, Shannon, that can take a look, an outside look at something to see, well, what are these little mini offers we could do to build building blocks to that bigger offer we want to have.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think sometimes when we're into our business kind of deep, we also think we don't need to validate. That also happens. Like it doesn't just happen to new timers, or newcomers or whatever. It can also happen to those vets, and because you don't think you have to validate because your audience says something. Well, how many people in your audience said that? Was it just one person? Was it one student or one customer who said that? Because you might be building an offer around that one person. So it's take a few minutes and validate it. And
That's
in
a
fact,
very, very good point.
it's a whole section of my courses, validation, and I go all into all these validation techniques. And yeah, it's such an important. It can't be underestimated. My first course, I did not validate very well, and I don't think the messaging hit because I didn't validate well. And I think that it's such an underestimated part of building out sales offers.
And I think that some people might be a little bit scared to validate, but it's better to validate ahead of time and then put the course out there and then get the validation that, well, it really wasn't a good idea to begin with. So these are, many validations to help you make sure you're going in the right direction, because your big idea might be mostly on point, but you just need to shift it just a tiny bit. And that validation steps as you go to it helps you shift it that tiny bit to really land the target a bit better.
Yes, yes. When I was building out when I was validating the course I just recently built, and what I did was I did validation calls with folks, and I think I recorded the calls. I took the transcript. I used Fathom, and I took the transcript into ChatGPT and had it extract out all the pain points they said, and all the recommendations they said, and all the things that they said that they needed to have in a course for it to make sense for them. And I used it on my sales page. I used those wording on my sales, and I felt like that was changed everything for me. That changed the game. The fact that we have AI, we can take the validation and really like turn it into something that benefits us in a way that's a little bit faster than we used to validate, right?
Right. That's a very smart move to do that way. So then for those that are listening and they want to build a simple yet effective sales funnel, what are some of those essential components that you need on one of those, first simple, effective sales funnels that you have?
Well, let's see. First thing I would think that comes to mind is super clear messaging. Messaging that spells out exactly what someone's going to walk away with, and ideally when, even, because sometimes people say things like, uh, their type of business is online business coaching. Well, instead of saying that, maybe say something like book your first 3 clients in 30 days. That tells me what I'm getting and how long it'll take. And I feel like that clarity builds trust faster and helps people self-identify, which is super important, and allows them to just, quickly say yes because they've connected that offers for them and they know how long it'll take and they can see how much it is and what the outcome is. And so it's just all laid out for them in a way that if you say things like online business coaching, they're like, that could mean a million things to a million different people. We all have, if you've ever hired a business coach, you know that they all think slightly different, you know?
Yeah, and that's a really good point because we talk a lot on the podcast about being clear and not clever with our messaging on our websites and with our call to action. So, our offer messaging needs to be very clear, just like the example you gave us. It's very clear what that outcome is, and talking to the benefits rather than the features is something else I'm sure you help your clients do on their funnels too, right?
Yes. Oh, it's all about transformation. Because people buy transformation. They buy the end result of and often it is not the price that sways them. It is the transformation that they're going to accomplish that sways them more than price. That's a misnomer in a lot of ways because I think we'll come up with the money if it's the transformation's worth it for us. So,
Yes.
And then, so other things that people can do that are like other essential components. Let me think. Another one I would say is your lead magnet is often something that people will build first, but it's something that you should consider building after your offer if possible, or or um, or review and see if you can tweak it because your lead magnet needs to. I'm gonna take a big deep breath because I feel like this is creating work for people. But your lead magnet needs to lead directly to your sales offer. And that's sometimes something we discover after the fact. And sometimes that's okay. And it's okay to scrap a first lead magnet if it just totally is not in alignment anymore. It's important to make it about giving them the first step towards the result, and that result is your paid offer, right? So it's the first step toward a result that your paid offer will actually achieve. So once you're clear on your offer, you know what you're helping people do and in what time frame, and then you can back up and say, like, what would someone need to know, believe, or do before they're actually ready to buy this? And then that answer becomes your lead magnet. And
I
so
love that.
that's a little tough for
Yeah.
people to swallow, I think, sometimes.
No, I know. And I completely agree there because, we're told to, especially in the online, course coach, course creator, coach, service
Space,
provider to create that lead magnet first. And I completely agree with you. There's a first initial lead magnets I created. I either need to go revise them or trash them because they weren't quite aligned with the offer I ended up landing on myself. And I
Yes.
think that, even if you have created those and they're not quite aligned, I feel like the fact that you created them is good just because you've gotten the experience, and it's okay. And then we should give ourselves permission to either revise it or create new with something a bit more aligned.
Yes. I mean, my first ones were they were not aligned anymore, not at
Yeah.
all. Like I remember I think I made a morning routine thing. Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
That's probably something you were dealing with at the time. You were
Yeah, it was
probably
something
trying to
I was
figure out your
building a
morning
morning
routine.
routine, That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
it. Lack of validation allows you to makes you create things that you're not necessarily going to use long term. But when your freebie and your offer align, then your funnel works so much better. I mean, you build trust and you guide them naturally towards the next step, and it just becomes a natural next step as opposed to a big jump.
Right. Right. Makes a lot of sense. So, when entrepreneurs are trying to build their first funnel, like how can they overcome this tech overwhelm when setting up their first funnel? Because I know we can, get really down in the weeds with the tech. I know I have myself, even though I'm a tech person. So how do we help overcome them with that tech?
Yeah, so let's see. Tech is one of the biggest reasons people don't they put off building a funnel, or they don't build a funnel, or they feel like they have to hire to do it and stuff. And but when you're thinking, and that's because like you hear these components like landing page, email automations, checkout links, and integrations, and you go, nope. And but try to simplify it. Start with strategy, not the software. Super important. I always say this in my course. I'm like, and everywhere really. That is one of the mistakes I see people make. They start with software, not strategy. And if you start with strategy, then you can go with the simplest platforms. If possible, stick with one platform and try to simplify the steps a little bit. So like if you're using like a Kajabi, if you have a Kajabi or a Go High Level or something like that, then build everything in the same thing: the landing page, the emails, the checkout, all those things. But and that's because trying to duct tape 5 tools together is where people get stuck. So simplify your tools first, and stick with strategy first, then simplify your tools. Choose the simplest tools. You could build one step at a time. Don't try to write all your emails and design your pages and figure out all your automations in one sitting. Break it down. Just do day one. Day one, you could craft your opt-in page, build your opt-in page. And then day 2, you can write your first email. That's how you can do it without frying your brain. And then
Well,
there's also don't try to invent everything from scratch. Use templates and checklists and go to somebody's, like whether it's mine or someone else's, just use a roadmap that tells you exactly what to do and in what order. And ask for help. Ask for help when you need it.
yes.
Like
Well,
I
and I
have a,
find that,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, when you said ask for help, I'm like, that's something we many times would give ourselves permission to do as business owners. And so I think
Yes.
that's a really good point. I want to make sure people hear, go ask for help. There's
Go
other
ask for help.
business owners that want to help.
I added a 45-minute strategy call to my offers because of that very reason. People wouldn't ask for help because they thought they needed to like sign up for a long coaching. And I added a 45-minute because sometimes people just need me to look at their landing page and figure out what's wrong. Like
Mhm.
or what's the integration, and help me fix this integration. So you don't have to do it alone.
It totally makes sense. And I do remember when we started creating our first lead magnets, I did keep it simple. I mean, I kept them just in my email service provider only. I didn't have it in some fancy
Yeah.
funnel type of software or anything like that. So I think giving people permission to, use your email service provider, because that can typically do a funnel, a simple funnel, and just start
Definitely.
there so that you're starting simple.
Yes. Yeah. Some people um, skip a fancy sales page and go straight to like a checkout page using Stripe. They'll set up a Stripe account and they'll just use the
Mhm.
Stripe checkout. Or there's services that are small, that are doing a really good job of this for people who aren't ready for the big solution. They don't need a website or anything yet. So that's like the Stand Store, and there's companies out there that are making it really simple to set up offers. And I think it's important to just give yourself permission to keep it simple at first and let it be messy a little bit. Like the goal isn't to build a perfect funnel, it's just to build one that's live and working and starting to make you money. And then
Yeah,
you
and
can
I've even
improve.
right, for sure. And I've seen people even use just a Google Doc, like
Yes.
for basically their funnels. So like if you're listening and you're new to funnels,
Yeah.
like it really can be that simple and they can be effective. I've purchased from people with just a simple Google Doc before.
Yes. I've seen high-end coaches sell their sales page is a Google Doc. And that's it. And
Hmm.
in a application form or just literally a checkout. And it's that's it. Amazing. And
It
so
is.
really it's really about what is the offer? What's the time frame? What's the transformation? Do you really get what I'm, where I'm at, and can you really help me get to where I'm trying to get? And if that is all there and that is all nailed in, just the messaging alone, I don't think that the format is going to sway as many people as we think it is.
I completely agree because if you get the things right, you were just talked about, you build trust and trust is what creates the purchase.
Yes. Yes.
So
Exactly.
then for listeners that are listening today and they want to, either build their first sales funnel or they want to improve one of their sales processes, what are some quick wins they can do? What can they look at and what can they change and adjust?
Okay, let's see. I'd start with the headline. Look at your headline. Is your headline tight? Does it really talk about transformation? You could do that by, like, if you have a sales page, look at your sales page. If you don't and you don't have anything built yet, look at your Instagram bio. Like, look where your people are getting their next step from you, and make sure that that says something that is ideally like results focused. I love results focused headlines. And so instead of coaching program or online course, make it create your first digital product in 30 days or book your first 3 clients even without a website. Doesn't that sound like so much better than a coaching program? So just make it super clear and make sure you that what you do and how you help them, and if possible, in what time frame. And then check your lead magnet alignment. See if that is aligned. So does your freebie actually attract someone who's actually ready for your paid offer? I mean, if your offer helps sell on Etsy, for example, your freebie shouldn't be about growing on Instagram. Like we were talking about, like the first freebies we made were like not it. Not our next. The next step wasn't natural. Think like natural next step. What is the natural next step? And if you're thinking
Yeah.
backwards, like creating a freebie after, you think, what does somebody need to do to think, believe, feel to be ready for this next step, for that to be the natural next step? And then I would look at your CTAs. Make sure your CTA, look at your CTA. Are you including them on like blog posts in your website? Are you including them in your emails? Are you putting them in your Instagram? How many times are you actually bringing it up? Do you feel like you're talking about it all the time, or do you feel like you're talking about it here and there? Because people need to hear it a lot more than we think they do, and they read a lot less of our stuff than we think they do. So it's okay to repeat and your CTAs, and really make sure that you're continuing to put it out in the world and giving people the opportunity. And then some other small wins. Let's see, like you could reach out to warm leads, like somebody who's replied to your story. You could reach out to them, or and just send like a friendly check-in message or something like, hey, just wondering if you're still looking for help with this. Here's a resource. Use your voice. Use your voice or your face. If you're comfortable on video, record something. If you're not comfortable in video, record a video, like a audio. I think that's the fastest way to build trust. I don't think we do it. I don't think enough of us do that. Take the time to do those methods, but it is the fastest way to build trust, is to add video. And because we connect, like I was thinking about this last night. I was watching something and I was thinking about like how into a few episodes into a show, how attached I'll get to certain characters. I'm like, wow, that's so fast that I'm all of a sudden like vested in this person. And I'm like, it's just the power of video, really. It's like you really do get connected to people. And without that, you can't build trust as fast.
Yeah. And I think it's video and storytelling, because like storytelling comes through video and voice a lot better. So we connect people,
Yeah. So
better
true.
when we're doing those, we have the story behind it too.
Absolutely. Yes.
These are some really great tips, and actually, I feel like I need to go re-listen to them after this podcast is done, because I know there are some things that I definitely could improve on, especially the call to actions. Like I know that I'm not great at social media and putting those call to actions in all the time. Like I might do it maybe once or twice a month or so, or maybe once a week. I'm not quite sure, but I need to like actually assess and see how often am I doing those call to actions? Because as we talk about a lot on the podcast, you need to guide the person to the next step.
Yes.
Because we're all busy, but if we have that nudge, that little guidance to that next step, we're more likely to follow it. It's something I talk about and teach for website conversion, but sometimes doing it yourself is harder, and I feel like we need to also have the permission to speak about our businesses and not feel ashamed, because I think some people are sometimes feel a little, they feel like they're like humble and they don't want to speak about it, but that's how we help people. That's how we serve people, is by telling people what we do and how we can help others, because we're actually doing a disservice by not offering our services. And it's
Yes.
something I have to tell myself a lot, and have to tell myself more often than I probably should, but it is definitely true. And I feel like entrepreneurs need to hear that. We are here for a reason. We have these skills for a reason. We can help people for a reason. And it's a disservice not to offer our services, not to be that helping guide.
Yes, 100%. When you have the answers, you need to share that. Yes. I mean,
Yes.
if we can all work together to build each other's businesses up and help each other, one another, we move so much faster together than we do apart. And so giving them that natural next step is in service of that, right? I
Yes,
think that's so well said. So well said.
it totally is. Yeah. So, Shannon, I just have really enjoyed the conversation about funnels and how to make them better, and all the things. So, if somebody wants to learn a bit more about you, how you can help them, what would be some good resources or places to go? And we will be sure to put the links in the show notes too. So don't worry about if you're listening and you're like, I don't know if I can remember that. We'll have them in the show notes too. But let us know a little bit more how we can connect more with you.
Yes, definitely. My website is shannongaither.com, and Gaither spelled gather with an I. That's the easiest way to do it. But of course, they'll be in the show notes. But and my lead magnet is 100 digital product ideas that you can create and sell today. So it's Shannon Gaither /100. It's really easy to remember. So that is the best way. And then also just look me up on Instagram. Instagram is, I'm looking to connect with people on Instagram. I'm always available in the DMs.
Well, and Shannon is always super friendly, as I'm sure you can tell by our conversation. She's just such a wonderful person who loves to help others, and hopefully, all that comes across in the podcast episode. Because I feel like I've been blessed to have fallen into your world and your circle the past year or so, and I just see all the good that you do for others. So I really appreciate having you on our podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad I got to be here with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to get to have a long conversation with you for once. It's
Yes,
great.
yes. Thanks again, Shannon.
Thank you.
What an awesome conversation with Shannon Gaither. I hope you're walking away with a clear understanding of what a sales funnel really is and how simple it can be to start building one that actually works for your business. From validating your offer to overcoming tech overwhelm, Shannon shared so many golden nuggets that makes the sales process feel a lot less intimidating, even if you're just getting started. If this episode got your wheels turning and you're ready to start turning your ideas into income, be sure to check out the show notes for links with Shannon and learn more about her and her sales funnel lab. And if you're loving our E-commerce Made Easy podcast, I'd be so grateful if you hit that follow button and leave a quick review. It helps more business owners like you find the show and get the support they need. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.